What's up, my people? Y'all come on in here. Well, let's give them a few minutes. Great day. Never give up. Let's go. We're going here today, y'all.
Dr. Joe Griffin, a speaker, consultant, and author's intention is teaching their talk is to broaden their vision, the things they weren't taught when they brought up as children. I introduce you to Dr. Joe Griffin. It's Dr. Joe Griffin. I introduce you to Dr. Joe Griffin, a speaker, consultant, and author's intention is teaching their talk is to broaden their vision, the things they weren't taught when they brought up as children. Reach for the top, regardless of situations, predicaments, or your conditions. He's making history, all of the districts, increasing retention from teachers, 50 to 80%. That ain't all that you hear me. He is the mentor. He paved the way with his step methodology, really. Be persistent, face fears, seek change, go out and go get it. This what you learning with Dr. Joe Griffin. With Dr. Joe Griffin, yeah. He says recognize trauma, push past the pain. If you got a problem, go look at his frame. Work your perspective and look at it change. Find a goal, set it in critical thing. Manage time, self-awareness. These are the few of the things he's trying to get you to do every day. Do every day. Led 5 schools to increase test scores with his teacher principal collaboration. Things he gives to you will have you take you drive to the next level. But first, you need to get some fuel at gas station. Supporting education leaders, creating a culture for kids that'll last for ages. Lack of access to quality professional development, that's outrageous. Got his doctorate in education, leadership, research, make changes. Need to put the kids first and raise them. Need to teach them they worth, stop playing. Later on, they gon' run this nation. Dr. Joe with his dissertation. Talk to those who would fix, make changes. I introduce you to Dr. Joe Griffin, a speaker, consultant, and author's intentions is teaching their talk is to broaden their vision, the things they weren't taught when they brought up as children. Reach for the top, regardless of situations.
I'll be active today. I'll be active.
He's making history, all of the districts, increasing retention from teachers, 50 to 80%. They ain't all that you hear me. He is the mentor. He paved the way with his dip methodology, really. Dream for persistent, face fears, seek change, go out and go get it. This what you learning with Dr. Joe Griffin. With Dr. Joe Griffin.
Great day, everyone. I hope everybody's doing great today. It is indeed week 45 from the Speaking Life and You Leadership Livestream Series. Welcome to the Empowerment Zone, Volume 2, number 45, you all. It is indeed a pleasure. I'm happy to be here. I'm joyful to be here. Let me say it like that. I'm joyful to be here. I have experienced an insurmountable amount of joy in my life over this last year, and I just want to continue to share. I want people to be able to pick up on it because it's contagious. I'm not just talking about happiness. I'm talking about joy, you all. And I'm not going to spill on that today because we got a lot to get into, but I want to first off continue to congratulate our schools who met the mark on the accountability models. We actually talking about data today, so I'm gonna go into some of that. While we're doing that, please sign in. Let me know where you are streaming in from. Where you streaming in from? Let me know where you're streaming in from because I want to acknowledge your being in the room. I want you to acknowledge you being in the Zoom room. So when you hear things, definitely like, comment, and subscribe. Share it out, you all. People gonna need this information we about to get into today. I'm going ham. I'm going in on the data piece, and I'm a little different. So as you probably know by now, my philosophies are a little bit different, but I'll cater that and getting those things together for you. I want to also let's shout out Sadir Sanders. As you know, you've been following the professional development that we have. I have been supporting that young man, his family. I have been encouraging of his quarterbacking and just of his journey, just because I know that people try to shut you down. People don't want you to believe in yourself. They don't want you to be boldly confident. They don't want you to know your stuff sometimes. So when we have people that are in position like that young man is, and he's confident and he's competent, it's important that we lift them up. We don't make them shine down, make them cower down their own confidence, their own ability. So we got to be able to support our people when they're doing positive things, when they're doing things to empower themselves, and ultimately that organization, now that he's the quarterback, perhaps. So we'll see how that works out. Good luck to him. After my professional development today, I will go on the MPA Jaguars immediately following. So if you hear, make sure you tune in to that as well. MPA Jaguars. We will definitely go on to the Jaguars over there with Josh Tovar and his crew. We definitely appreciate the invite, opportunity to share. And it's all about continuing to be better, continue to connect and empower educators. You are. Thank you. LinkedIn user, I couldn't see your name. It's not showing your name. Reno, Nevada. Definitely appreciate you signing in. If you don't mind, put your name, put it in there. That's fine. If not, we appreciate you signing in. Reno's in the house. Okay, now. Appreciate you. It's just telling me LinkedIn user, but thank you for coming in. Let's support every young leader out there. Man, I'm going to put that on the board because you said a word then. You said a word then. We got to support our leaders out there. And that's crucial, you all. So, again, these schools that did not do well on state assessments, that's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We're going to shine a flashlight on that data today a little bit and kind of help you put some systems in place so that you can maneuver out of your situation and improve those results over the upcoming year. So all of that is crucial. All of that is important. If you don't succeed at first, guess what? Dust yourself off and try again. Dust yourself off and try again. We got to be resilient through it all. That's one of the things that we often talk about as well. So as we get ready, I'm going to go ahead and get into some of the content. Well, I want to open up with a brief conversation as a prelude to the content. Okay? As a prelude to the content. And you can take this quote here to the bank. It's one of mine. You know, I keep a book full of them. I write mine down. But data, although recorded in a ledger, is your legend. I'm gonna let that sink in for a minute because this one here gonna hit some people in their side. This one here is gonna hit you in your side. I know it is, and then it's gonna lift people up too as well because it's gonna motivate you just by thinking about what we're saying right here. Data, although recorded in a ledger, it's your legend. Ooh, we Joe. What do you mean by that? Because I'm excited, you all. I'm excited about some of the things we about to share within this next hour or so. First off, let me tell you about this data. And I'm gonna take this screen down. So make sure you put that in your bank account right there in your head. Data, although it's recorded in a ledger, it's your legend. And if you were with me last week, you saw a clip in which I kind of showed some past success with one of my schools. And in that clip, and this is last week, which was week 44, you can definitely go back and see it. In that clip, I actually broke down the actual numbers of passing rates for my students who took the test for that particular year because I knew the data. I was immersed in the data. I didn't have to wait until the results come in. See, when the results come in, the work has already been put in. When the results come in, you have to have already put the work in. So it's crucial to make sure that you're monitoring that data all the way along. First thing is you can't teach, learn, or grow without being adept at using the data. You can't teach, learn, or grow. You say, Joe, what you mean by that? What are you saying by you can't teach, learn, or grow effectively without using the data? First off, as a teacher tool, the data going to guide the instruction, not the other way around. You have to let the data inform you of the needs of your students, the strengths of your students, their weak areas, those things that you need to reiterate, those things that need to be enriched because you have those higher end students that meet mastery as well. So you can't teach effectively without mastering the data. You got to know where your students are. Leaders, you can't lead effectively without being immersed in the data. Let me explain. I can't make scheduling decisions. I can't put students in the right line of classes if I'm not familiar with their data. I can't have those extensive data talks that we're going to talk about if I'm not familiar with students' data. I can't put teachers in those correct classes or put the students where they need to be with what teachers they need to be with so that we can all be successful if I'm not familiar with the data. You can't teach effectively without being familiar with the data. You can't lead effectively without being familiar with the data. And you can't grow at your highest potential without being familiar with the data. The data allows you to stretch your capacity, allows you to see what it is that you need to do in order to better your leadership, in order to better your teaching as a teacher. You have to let that observation feedback inform you as a teacher. You have to use that observation feedback from superintendents, principal to inform you. Same thing with superintendents from the board. You have to let that information inform you. You can't teach, lead, or grow effectively without being immersed and really familiar with your data. Second point, data is not for you to stay busy. It's for you to stay getting better. It's not for you to stay busy. Sometimes we look at data like, oh God, that's a head buster. All these numbers, all these bars, all these charts. But it's designed so we can thumb through it, so you can look through it and see what it is that we need to do to improve on. So it's not to stay busy. It's so that we can stay getting better. Next thing, you got to see it as a mirror, as a reflection of where we need to go. It's never saying we didn't already put in the work, but it's saying we may need to make some adjustments. Perhaps we need to center in on those essential objectives. Maybe we need to find out the test blueprint. Maybe we need to go to that blueprint and see what's in that 70% of the test, where the biggest majority of your points going to come from. And perhaps we need to go back and have our teachers synthesize those lessons so they can scaffold the instruction so the students can get everything that they need. So we can't use data as a negative. We got to look at it as a mirror, as a reflection, as a flashlight. We shine a light on the data so we can be better. It's an opportunity, whether good or bad. Because if you got good data, you still got to school improve. If you got bad data, you still got to school improve because the targets move every single year. We're about to talk about those targets in a few minutes too. But every year, the targets move. Education is a service industry that we restart each year because you got a different set of kids coming in for your accountability models. Sometimes you have different teachers that have to be trained, different leaders. You have different curriculum, different frameworks that are put into place, different philosophies. All of this matters, you all. But when you're passionate about it and you love what you do, you're going to make those adjustments and be everything that you can for those students, for those teachers, for those community people, and for those leaders. Fourth thing about this data being your legend. Ooh, I like saying it. It's not just recorded in a ledger. It's your legend. It's your legend. I went through my whole data career. I think it was one of those earlier professional developments, maybe in week 4 or 6 or something like that. Go back and check it out. But I kind of outlined how we had moved schools over the course of 15 years or so as an administrator. And the thing about it, you can't be afraid of the data. We have a negative connotation surrounding academic data, observation data, behavior data, attendance data. It's all negative, but again, I always challenge us to rethink things, look at it from a different perspective, pull out the opportunities, pull out the places where we can improve. How can we make those numbers better? Because the saying is, women lie, men lie, but these numbers, they don't lie. They don't lie. So we're not going to get down about anything. As resilient, powerful people, empowered educators, we're not going to get down about it. we're going to find the solution. We're going to find the solution. We're going to find the solution. All right, so I got a few things that are going to fall under this data piece today. First off, understanding accountability. And if you want to take notes, what have you, because we about to get into understanding accountability, programs over people, and then we're going to come back and talk about how to use the data. And as always, you all see what sets me apart. What's the differentiating factor? I'm going to give you actionable things that you can take. I don't believe in coming up here talking about all the philosophy, all of everything that we put into it without giving you something that you could take away. That is the strategy, because I want to help empower you. And even if it's strategies that you already know, that you already use, it's been reiterated. You can go in there and play with it, make it better, adjust it how you need to be for your situation. It may be a strategy that you used years ago that you hadn't thought about using this year, but all those things play a part in it. And we want to continue to empower our education community. If you like what I'm saying, definitely like, comment, subscribe, share out. We appreciate you all. I appreciate y'all every week. I go back, I look at who shared, I look at those likes, I look at these comments. So I appreciate everything. Thank you. Who we got there? Such a powerful recommendation to be a data-driven leader. Yes, indeed. And we're going to get into it today. Thank you much. LinkedIn user, again, it's not showing your name on LinkedIn, but I definitely appreciate your participation. Definitely. Keep collaborating with us. People need to hear these messages, you all. So when we're talking about understanding accountability models, and each state has their own accountability model, so I'm not going to drag you out, but we normally, it falls under 1, 2, 3, 4, and some places have 5s. You know, that's your minimum, your basic. Sometimes the 3 is a pass. Sometimes that's been eliminated in different states. But your 4, your 3, proficient, then of course your advanced. So in knowing your state and district guidelines, you got to know those cutoff points. You got to be able to go in there and look at that data and see how many points does it take each. And notice I said each, every individual student, how many points it takes them to get to that next level. And you have to do that for math, science, ELA, social studies, or history. They still taking that in your particular state. I know in my home state, they took it out for these upcoming years, but you still have some states who are still testing. So when you think about that, you got to be familiar. You got to know those ranges. That was what helped us burst down the accountability model at every single place that I was blessed to become a leader at. Not only working with the team, but being able to drive those numbers through the team. I should wrote that down. Being able to drive those numbers through the team. What do you mean? Knowing those ranges. If I've got a kid that's on the bubble from basic to proficient, I need to know how many points it's going to take for each kid to go. How many questions is that? So I'm going to cross-reference back to the blueprint, the state test blueprint, your state test blueprint, because it's right there. It's going to tell you how many points each part of that test is worth. And you got to work it. It's going to make the growth go off the charts. Now you're in a situation where you're hitting students, especially your bubble kids. You're getting students not only for proficiency, but for growth also, because you moved them. That's the name of the game in every accountability model. So when we're thinking about that, how you setting your school up for success? How are you using those numbers to drive instruction? How are you using those numbers to set up teachers and students for success? Because the students can only be successful if your teachers are successful. Understanding the accountability model. Now you're looking at your subgroups, your black boys, your special education or exceptional education department. I know some states have gone away from special education, but in the South, they still say special education. Other places, exceptional education. How are those points adding up? How are those students being taught? How are you moving the needle in your subgroups. All of that matters. And you've got to be able to look at that data. It's going to come to you, but data, it doesn't mean anything until you do something with it. Data only means something when you make an adjustment with it. Data means nothing if you're not using it to push your school forward. It doesn't mean anything. You can get all the percentages, all the scores you want, but if you're not using that data, what difference does it make? Y'all like this, share this out. Please like it. Please share out. I need your support, you all, because I'm on a mission to serve as many educators that want to be served. Every week, every day, all the time. We love what we do, and we love these conversations. We love driving these conversations because I've been there. And you may be the one that doesn't want to ask the question, but you want the answer. Well, I'm going to give it to you as much as possible, as often as possible. We're looking at that observation data, your culture and climate data. All of that matters. Now, actionable planning that you can do. We're talking about actionable that you can do in order to help understand the accountability model. Track it personally. Don't depend on people to bring the data in its already disaggregated state. Look at it, learn the model for yourself, those percentages. Learn how to break it down for yourself. The only way to get great at something is to start. That's the only way that you can start to understand the data. And as leaders and as educators, we've got to understand that. So often we just throw the data out there and we don't break it down for those that we want to use the data. We don't give them training on it. We just tell them the ranges, but we don't do everything that we need to do in order to make sure they can own the data. That's powerful in itself, you all. So track it personally. Leaders, align the data with your PD. You know your weak areas from looking at how your teachers perform. You know your weak areas from what they said in those surveys. Use all that to align your professional development instead of having meaningless professional development. Share. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Josh. And we'll be on your show here in a little bit. We're going to definitely check you out in a little bit. Thank you so much. I want to definitely share that kind of accountability. That's the cornerstone for a successful educator. LinkedIn user. Yes. Yes, it is. So all of that matters. Those are some things that you can actually do, though, as leaders and as teachers. Make sure that coaching is aligned to the data. Make sure your professional development has feedback loops within it so that you can, again, touch back on the data. Woo! You hear what I'm saying? Like, comment, share out. Definitely appreciate it. Appreciate it. Now, we're still on data. We got two more little subsections on this data because I want you prepared. I know that we've got schools that have started already, and we've got schools that are preparing to start. So on top of understanding the data, now you got to work with these programs, right? You've got NWA or MAP, Renaissance, all of these data programs. But guess what? And this is where I'm going to differ. And some people might or might not agree. We don't have to always agree. But here's the thing. It's program over people. It's people over programs. Excuse me. It's people over programs. Wow. You say, Joe, what do you mean? You are only as good as how well your people know how to operate the program. So if you got already even, but no one knows what to do with the data, no one can read the reports. You hadn't had the proper training. They don't know how to pull out the groups for differentiated instruction on the program. What are we doing? You could have invested that time in helping the teacher become better to be able to read the data, and secondly, to provide the instruction so that those programs could be supplements instead of the end-all, be-all to the data. First off, we coming off the state reports anyway. We want to use those state reports. Remember, that's what we were talking about at first. I love iReady. I love NWA. I love Renaissance. They're great supplements. But I'm not going to coach you on that. I want to coach you on learning that state model. Let's dig into that state model. Now we're going to compare it to what those programs say as supplements to push, boost, to support, to assist the educator in the process. But all the time, I need you learning these teacher strategies. I need you learning these collaborative teaching strategies so that you can actually teach the student. Now, when we put them on the program, it's smooth running because it's people over program. You only as good as your people are able to run your programs. Supplemental, not a replacement. And guess what? It's not magic. They just a measuring stick. They're just an additional eye, an additional look at where we're trying to go. So, yeah, we got to use them. They are great for help. But here's the thing. Let's get these educators trained. Let's get these educators trained. Let's actually teach them discipline culture plus instructional practice equals performance. Let's teach not only the philosophy, but the strategies that accompany it. Because we've got to be collaborative through it all. And here's the thing. I'm going to give you some action steps to promote people over programs. When you do your small groups, make sure you're able to use feedback within them. Not just feedback that's coming directly from the program, but real life, interpersonal, relatable, real life feedback. That teacher, that leader, they need to be able to have the conversation surrounding what the data is saying. And if we don't understand what that program is all about, and I'm not saying just on a surface level. We've been doing stuff on a surface level for too long. That's why I've created these collaborative frameworks that actually show you how to collaborate versus just saying we need to do it. Hey, this is one of my pet peeves. Hey, go be your best. What the hell does go be your best mean? Excuse my French. But what does that mean, go be your best? We got to align that. That means first off, believing in yourself. That means visioning what you want. That means learning your strengths. That means knowing your limitations. That means committing to the process. That means planning. That means daring yourself to be great over and over and over again. Now you talking about being your best. See, that's a whole different level, you all. What are we cooking today? We are cooking today. We cooking today. I'm empowered. I feel good, and I want you to too. See, that's the thing. It's genuine. It's from the heart. We going. We're going to keep going because I know you need this. I know we need to encourage, even if it's just to hear it, so you can get your mind to turn it, to know that it's other people that are just as passionate as you and love the process of educating students, the process of empowering educators to be their very, very best every single day. Because remember, we have to stay present. We got to stay present in this battle, you all. Bi-weekly data chats for your teachers. Notice I said data chats for teachers. Because a chat, you having it more frequently. See, every other week, you looking at the data, you talking with kids, you using data within the classroom from your CFUs, your checks for understanding, right? All of that matters. And then your leader's gonna back that up with data talks across the semester or across the year. If you got a team of administrators, you're able to do it more frequently. But those data chats from the teacher combined with data talks from the leader, think about the impact you're gonna make. Most of the time, no one's talking about those students' data with them so that they can understand it to make adjustments in their own learning. So it's crucial that we recognize opportunities. That's an opportunity to have a talk that they never had, to show them a side of care that they haven't been shown. You care about my academics. You care about me growing past this 9 weeks. Yeah. I want you to be proficient. There's no greater feeling, you all, than for a student to come to you. If you're in middle school, say 5th grade, and leave it to 8th grade, or if you're in high school, they come in 9th grade and they leave in 12th grade. But by the time they're in 9th grade and they take those 11th grade assessments, they've gone from minimal or basic to proficient because of the feeder systems that you put in place, because of the support that you gave your teachers so that they can deliver. That's a powerful feeling. And then you back that up with the data talks that you've been having with this kid or this student, these group of students over the course of that time. So much power in that. So understand that we've got to center those data chats and back them up with those data talks from your administrators and provide training. Provide training. We talking about MAP, NWA, Renaissance, all of these programs, but you got to train them, not just one training, because I don't want you to just use it today. I don't want you to use it just to supplement your instruction today. I want you to be able to use it in a way that you understand, that you can combine it with what you do as the teacher or as the leader. Now, we're still putting people over programs, but guess what? We're using the program to drive the instruction as well. Now we got a double driven vehicle. You got the person driving, and then you got the program right there pushing along. It's powerful, y'all. I can't make this up. This is good stuff, y'all. Share it out. Share it out. I know my leaders and teachers need to know this. That's why we're coming to it every single day. Now, we're going to keep it going, you all, because I want to break this down a little bit more, just a little bit more, because you got to use the data. You got to use the data to enhance your instruction. And I analyze data to enhance what I do. Remember, we talked about that. I analyze data to enhance what I do. That's part of that commitment and accountability piece on that 3 cents leadership model. I'm going to read a quick song piece to you right here. If I learn to interpret and what to do with data, I can become twice as nice. And this from the Empowering Educational Communities, a guide for teacher principal collaboration. Data. Data is sometimes manipulated, but it often tells the truth. After you run the data as an educator, assess the data for strengths, review the data for weak areas, and search for trends to find ways to keep improving the data. Student achievement data and observation feedback data help you step your practices up. The gift is how you mentally accept data and determine the following steps to improve data. The overview of data allows teachers and principals to plan for students individually and collectively to prepare impactful data talks with students and parents that can change the trajectory of students' lives. So when you're understanding the data, now you got to be able to use the data. It only means something when you respond. The data, I'm going to say that again, the data means nothing if you don't respond. Let's look at some comments real quick, you all. Josh, if you sit in the main chair, your current numbers tell you how effective your vision was last year and what you need to do to fine-tune it with PD. You got to look at those numbers. Yes, indeed. That's survey data as well. Let's empower teachers to empower students. Thank you, LinkedIn user. I can't see you all name, but I definitely appreciate you coming in. Discussing data with students is the first step to partner with them and empowering them to succeed. That's my language, LinkedIn user. That's my language. You can tell I'm passionate about that because I constantly reference, and I have a data conversation toolkit. Woo! A toolkit that you have conversation with students, teachers, as well as leaders. If you're interested in that, just shout me. I'll send it to you. But a data conversation toolkit, you got to have it, you all. So we're talking about now using the data to enhance your instruction. First off, you got to know that data informs everything. Yeah, I ain't freeze up, but I froze. Data informs everything. Data informs everything that you do in your school. If you're talking about pacing, you got to let the data inform your pacing guides. If I'm looking at last year's data and my pacing guide, I've got a big stretch of the content where students mastered that content. But I got another short stretch where they bombed these objectives. I need to adjust my pacing guide. I need to make it reflect those weaknesses a little bit more. Perhaps that was a prerequisite skill that they missed. Perhaps they had a great teacher who absolutely nailed this particular objective, but missed the other objective that was tied to it that synthesized those objectives. So data, you got to think deep with this data. It informs your pacing. It informs your scaffolding of instruction. Data informs your scaffolding of instruction for teachers as well as students. You all hear me talk about scaffolding instructional practice for teachers quite a bit, because that's my language. That's what I believe. I believe in closing those gaps, not only with teachers, but also with students. So your data has to inform the scaffolding. If I see gaps in the data, I've got to make sure that I tackle the issues. If I'm seeing my teachers constantly having problems with doing collaborative strategies within the classroom, that's one of our markers on the rubric. If I'm seeing this, that's data, first off. I've got to use that for my professional development to ensure that I'm teaching collaborative strategies as the instructional leader. This is crucial. Use the data to enhance instruction school-wide. Data rooms. Use the data to enhance. I believe in having data rooms. Now, data walls can be tricky because you got to make sure that they're private, that they're in a room where only instructional staff can be, that names aren't on the data walls as well, especially if they're out, amongst the school or amongst the buildings. But if you got a data room that's dedicated nothing but maybe to your PLCs, because your PLCs are instruction as well as data focused only. Remember, growth over gripes. If we're able to have those particular rooms, I love data rooms where we come in here and it's like a war room. We've got our all of our scores up, our individualized scores, our class scores. We've got attendance. We've got our ACT scores. We got all of our data, attendance data. All of that matters in this data room. Our DIBELS data, whatever it is, whatever level you at, because I've been at all of them. I've been blessed to see these things work at elementary, middle, high school levels as the instructional leader, because guess what? You are a leader. You are a leader. You are a leader. All educators are leaders. All students are capable. It's the motto that drives us every single day. So keep that in mind, you all. Next thing we want to talk about as far as using the data. And this is actionable. I'm going to give you some actionable strategies because we're getting ready to go over to MPA here in the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. But actionable strategies. Align your exit tickets to the gaps in the data. This is teachers here. And administrators, of course, this is a practice that you want to push down, because listen to this. Those exit tickets, first off, exit tickets don't have to be for everybody. They don't have to be the same. Let's get that out there. If I'm truly differentiating instruction, you might have a different exit ticket, because I know through the data, you didn't master sentence structure. You didn't master algebraic expressions. You didn't master operations. You didn't master genetics. Whatever piece it is that you didn't master, I'm going to set up the exit tickets to reflect that. And I may have multiple because I've got multiple different students. I've got a diverse set of students. They've got a diverse set of needs. And if I'm using the data, I'm able to manage that. Exit tickets that are aligned for differentiated instruction. Powerful strategy. That's taking your exit ticket strategy to a whole nother level, you all. I hope you're with me. If you like what I'm saying, like, comment, subscribe, share out. I know some administrators need this little twist because the Dipper Pro, we're going to put systems within systems to make sure that all goes well. Master those anchor charts and visuals. Visuals increase the learning by 65 to 400%. I ain't freeze. 65 to 400%, depending on the learner. So let's make sure we're using those visuals with that instruction, okay? Now, for leaders, this is going to be good right here. Last week, we talked a little bit about signature strategies. If you didn't hear that segment on signature strategies, go back to week 44, see how can you incorporate signature strategies. But here's the thing with using the data. And now we're talking about specifically observation data from administrators, between administrators and teachers. Remember, we always talking about teacher, principal, superintendent collaboration. Systemic collaboration is the terminology that I like to give it. You're going to use feedback to connect to your signature strategies that you're already pushing throughout the school, that you're already discussing, that you're already promoting, that you're already professionally developing teachers with. During your feedback sessions, you're going to use those signature strategies during your feedback. You see how you tie all your vision together now? You see how you're using data to continue to push instruction? You've already aligned with the state. You know your accountability model. Now, we got to put systems in place. We got to put mindset in place. Remember on last week, the last first weeks, remember I wanted to make sure you all that I gave you a great start to the year. We talked about intentionality plus instruction equal impact. Y'all remember that? Yeah. Then we talked about mindset, methods, mission. And now we're talking about juggling this data. All of those going to help you set your school up for a successful year, because my job is to make sure that my people, my community, those that keep showing up, those that keep listening, those that keep following, keep understand how their best year yet in the profession. There is no in between. We're not selling for anything less. If you with me, say you with me. I know you with me, because who doesn't want to have their best year in the profession? And you're going to be here with me every single Sunday, because we're going to keep you empowered. We're going to keep the information rolling. We're going to keep different people coming up, because next week we're going to start with our series of guests. And then I've got the next week after that alone. And then we got a series about 4 or 5 principals, superintendents, et cetera, that we're going to continue to bring knowledge and information and bless the stage with it. Bless the atmosphere with their knowledge, because we learn with, through people. Support your grade level team to analyze that subgroup data. Leaders. Teachers, of course, you got to be totally involved as well, but leaders, support those teams in disaggregating that data. Couple final data points. Celebrate growth, not just proficiency. Everyone is not going to be proficient, but we can all grow. We can all be better. And every little bit counts. When you move an inch, that might be a foot for somebody else. When that person moves a foot, that might be 10 yards for somebody else. Or your 5 pounds that you carrying on your back, I may not be able to carry but 2. But I'm doing my very, very best as well. So we want to celebrate growth, not just proficiency. We want to allow our help our students visualize their own success. Y'all, that's powerful. That's a powerful piece when you help someone see more in themselves than they currently see. That's futuristic. That's empowerment. That is helping people be better. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. We can't be here just for ourselves. No vision comes to fruition unless it's to help other people. So as an educator, it's our job to make sure that every single day, every single time, that's what we're doing, as they say. That's what we're doing, you all. I want to ask that you continue to keep people in your prayers. We got a lot going on in this world today, you all. We got a lot going on in this world today, and we got to stay together. We got to stay together. We got to uplift one another. We've got to empower one another. We've got to understand that we're brothers and sisters, whether we like it or not. I have come to a space in my life where I only want good for everybody, even people that have announced themselves or showed themselves to not be a positive dissent toward me. I got none but love, because I'm not going to allow anger to steal my joy. I'm going to push past the pain. I'm going to continue to persist with purpose. So, let me definitely show you real quick how we came about this journey here on these first few. You know that I always tell you it's about the journey and how we designed this from the back. We talk about starting with the end in mind. I wanted this first 3 professional development to be powerful. Some that you can go back and watch for years to come, some that you can use in your professional development, some that you can use to set up your school. But we started with the mindset, because you got to start with the end in mind. And we talked about methods, mission, and how all of that relates. Gave you so many points. Actionable activities. Gave you actionable things that you can input today. Then we went on to intentionality. Intentionality plus instruction, that equals the impact. That equals impact. When you setting up your environment to be empowered, when you put people in positions where they can be successful and flourish every day, not just one day because we feel good today, but because every single day this is an empowerment zone. And then we made it to the journey today, because now you own it. And you got to be able to disaggregate that data. You got to be able to break it down. You got to be able to use it to your advantage. If not, the data will use you. Let that sink in. Let that sink in for a second. All right. I also want to definitely want to reach out to me. That's definitely my information. Anytime, you all, because we're about empowering educators. I want to leave you with a closing and a poem today. Just feel good, feel so excited. And I want to share it with you because you got to be true in everything that you do. You got to be true, y'all. Let me remove this and finish up real strong with you. First, I'll continue to love, lead, live, and learn through your heart. Continue to search for wisdom so that you can find your true purpose. And continue to be courageous so that you can drown out all fear. And through it all, be true. Be true. Believe, struggle, work hard. There's no limit to what you can do. Aim for the stars because they're not far. To yourself, be true. Understand that there are ups, but with ups also come downs. Be committed to excellent achievement, and great rewards and benefits will be found. Realize that nothing comes easy. If it does, it's probably not real. Be hungry for what life has to offer and approach life with much zeal. Push forward when times get tough and persist with the desire not to be denied. Failure is not an option and means nothing if you truly, truly try. Be honest and true in all that you do and have faith that he will take care of you. That's from Home of the Blues, Poems for the Spirit, Heart, and Soul, 3-book collection. You all otherwise have the best day. Much love. Happy Sunday. Let's get this knowledge. Let's go.